In this film, we're going to be showing you how to look after your disc cutter. It doesn't matter what disc cutter you've got, whether it be Durston, as I have here, or a Pepe or a Swanstrom, or whatever brand or make that you've got. This little technique is going to help you keep your disc cutter in tip-top perfect condition. My name's Andrew Berry, and welcome to At the Bench's YouTube channel. Whether you spend a small amount of money or a large amount of money on your jewelry making equipment, you will use it every single day and you will expect it to last you basically forever. But you don't often think about maintaining that piece of equipment, and really to maintain is something that you really got to look into to make sure that that item is producing perfect results for you. Typical example for that is this. This is a disc cutter. If you don't look after the disc cutter is not going to look after you. You don't look after the edges, you don't look after the faces, you don't clean it. When you come to stamp out your discs, they're going to be marked, they're going to be misshapen, and you're going to spend far longer cleaning up those individual discs than what you would have taken cleaning up and maintaining the disc cutter in the first place. So it doesn't matter what disc cutter you've got. This one is a Durston. You can apply this technique to any disc cutter, whether it be a Durston one, a Pepe one, or a Swanstrom one, or even one of your little inexpensive disc cutters bought from the Far East and from abroad. What we're going to need, obviously, is your disc cutter. I'll go through the few things that you're going to need first. You're going to need some emery paper. I think I've got a 600 grit by here. You're going to need a little bit of engineer's oil, a little bit of methylated spirits or white spirit or some alcohol, and that's basically, and also a marker. You don't really need the marker, but we'll come to all that a little bit later on. You do have to make sure that the faces on the cutters are really, really nice and crisp and not necessarily sharp, but clean and crisp and unmarked. So then when the punch goes through the actual main body itself, it will produce those gorgeous, gorgeous discs. What we need to do first is to look at the face of one of our punches. And you've got a nice lot of depth on this punch. And really you could keep on sharpening this particular punch for many, many years to come. I've used this quite a few times. You can see how it's quite shiny around the outside, and you can see the face here is quite dirty. Now any dirt on that face will be transferred upon to the disc, so really you need to keep these faces nice and clean. You also need to make sure that these edges that we've got going around the punch here are lovely and crisp and clean as well. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, we need to remove this dirt that is on the face. A lot of times it's from the lubrication you put on the edge of the punch just before you punch it through the main body of the disc cutter itself. Grab yourself a little bit of towel. I've got some methylated spirits here. You can use white spirit, alcohol, whatever you use in your country, and we just clean the face of that disc cutter, the punch, and it looks pretty good already. It looks lovely and clean already, actually. So we need to remove all that first of all. The emery paper that I'm using, I think this is 600 grit. You don't want anything sort of less than that, otherwise it's going to be far too coarse. You need to make sure that that is on a nice flat surface. You don't want a piece of emery paper, have I got a piece around here to show you? Yeah, you don't want to have a piece of emery paper like this that is worn, that is creased, that is curling up at the edges, because when you come to move the disc punch up and down, if the edges are curled up, it's not going to keep that nice crisp flat face on the disc cutter, which is vitally important to punch out your discs. So we've got a brand new piece here, we've taped it onto a nice steel block. If you've got a little steel block like this, it's just going to be far too small. You need quite a large area, or tape a bit of emery paper down onto a nice flat work surface. Works just as good. Put a little bit of oil upon the paper as well. Just rub that in. Now, there's a few videos out there showing this certain ways now to actually clean up and to sharpen the face of your punch. Some people now will get a marker pen and draw over the face of the punch, so you know that you've gone over the whole face, to ensure that you've gone over and got a nice flat surface. You can do that. Some other people will say to put the disc cutter down upon the emery paper and move that disc in perhaps a figure of 8 motion. Now, my problem with that particular type of technique is that the punch has to be kept flat. If you get your disc cutter, and I'm just going to use the opposite end of the disc cutter just to show you so I don't ruin this punch. If you have the disc cutter and pretend this is the other way around, you put it down on your emery paper and you get the disc cutter and you move it around in a circular motion, for instance, like this. Right, there's a chance that you're going to start doing this. And by doing that, you're just rounding that outside edge. As much as you try to turn that around nice and flat, there's always a tendency for your hand to rock. Likewise, in a figure of 8 motion, you can try and get that figure of 8 motion going exactly right, but again, there's a chance that you're gonna, this is obviously, I'm exaggerating this, there's a chance that the punch is going to do this. And again, you're gonna be rounding off the edges. So I don't like to do it that way. What I like to do is to put the punch directly down onto the emery paper, and we're just simply gonna pull it along, lift it up, put it back at the start, and pull it along again. That way, we're not moving the punch around, and there's no chance the edges are going to be rounded or become slightly concave. That way, I feel, is the best way of doing it, because you're not going to round off the punch and the edges are going to be gorgeous and sharp. You don't even have to then use your magic pen, your magic marker to put over the surface, because there is a slight direction on this already. You can see, just about see, there's lines running in this direction, top to bottom, on the face already. Now, if we happen to have our punch and we have it so those are running it perpendicular to the direction we're going to be sharpening the punch, we can then look at the face of the punch to make sure that we cannot see the original vertical marks, and all we can see are the horizontal marks from our emery paper. And if you really want to, yes, you can go over with your magic marker and go over the face if you wanted to. So I'm just going to do that just to show you what I mean. Like that. This will dry very, very quickly. And now, as I said, the lines, the original lines on here are running top to bottom. We're going to be moving the punch side to side. These punches have got a slight angle. It's about a 5-degree angle. So the punch sort of shears out the disc instead of punches it flat. So we have to make sure that we do still keep that angle on our punch when we do come to move it up and down the paper. Like this here, the punch is at an angle, as you can see, and we can simply move this up and down. Also, it pays to stand up as well when you come to do this, because then you can move your body up and down to make sure that you get that nice flat face. So get your punch, just move it along, lift it back to the beginning, move it along. And this is all you need to do in this direction. There is less tendency for your body to sway and for the actual face of the punch to be rounded, basically. So I've only done that 3 or 4 times. You can see now that there's no marker left on that face. And we can see very, very slightly some marks running horizontal. I want to make sure that I keep those horizontal lines there, and I can't see any vertical lines. So let's put that back on the paper, and we're just going to go up. And by doing it this way, you can be sure that you're going to have the most minimal amount of rocking, and you're going to keep the face of that punch nice and flat. If you went back and forth, there's a chance that you're going to rock that punch back and forth, and you'll round the face and you'll round off those edges. So stand up in one direction, lift, you get the general gist of the idea. This will ensure that you keep these punches nice and flat, clean and crisp edges. All right then, there we go. So we've been doing that a little while. You can see those little horizontal marks coming. Just go back over the punch a couple of times. You can see some other little marks on these edges here that I don't want. Back on the oil, stand up, back and forth. Beautiful. Okay, that's it. That's all we really need to do with our punches. You can see we've got this gorgeous, lovely, shiny finish back on the punch. So that one punch is done for sharpening. Also, what I'd be inclined to do is get the rag that you've been using to wipe the face of the punch to go over the rest of the punch, over the edge of the punch, just to make sure you get a little bit of oil left on the punch. It also then helps when the punch travels through the body of the disc cutter itself. And talking about that, you can also look at the disc punch body. You can basically just take this apart and give this a bit of a clean. This one has a little nut upon the top we can undo. That can come off. Be careful that you keep all the washers and all the springs in place as well on this. You can take that off, put that to one side, carefully open up the disc cutter, and again there should be a spring within this. We've got 2 springs on this one. And again, you can go over with your methylated spirits to start off with. Let's get a new bit of rag. And give the faces on this a nice clean as well. Get rid of all the excess junk, burr life that maybe, or whatever you've got on the faces. Make sure that it's all nice and clean. Make sure the actual edges of the bottom die are lovely and clean as well. Get a rag on the inside, clean all the inside of those punches. Make sure they are looking absolutely gorgeous. Again, do the same with the top plate. Then once you're happy you've got that nice and clean, a little bit of oil on a rag or a paper towel and just gently go over the faces just to make sure that there's no rust going to appear on that. Also go on the inside of the holes where the punches go through as well. Make sure all that goes together nicely. Again, do exactly the same to the top plate as well, and then reassemble. Make sure you get these 3 little studs in the right place, and the disc cutter will go back together. Clean the threads on the bolt that holds it all together. A little bit of oil on that as well. That'll help that go through and put all that back down into place. Nice. Make sure again the bottom's lovely and clean, and make sure those holes are nice and clean as well. And that's it. That's all you really do need to do. And if you look after your punches, making sure that the faces here are lovely and clean, the discs that come out of the disc cutter will be absolutely gorgeous as well. On this one here, we've got some marks. As I said, run your finger over it. If you can feel any imperfections, those imperfections will be hit and bashed into the discs that you're going to be producing on the disc cutter. It's going to take more work to try and get those marks out than what it would do to clean these faces so they are absolutely perfect. There we go. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please click subscribe and also smash that little bell icon so you can be notified when films go live on our YouTube channel. Don't forget, please give this film a ding, a thumbs up if you like it. And don't forget, please share it with your friends. Anything else you want to talk about, just chat away in the description box, the comments box down below. Let me know what you think. If you've got any hints and tips for cleaning your disc cutters, please, I would love to hear it. But in the meantime, my name's Andrew Berry for At The Benches YouTube channel. Take care. I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Hi, I'm Andrew Berry and welcome to At The Bench. Why? I keep forgetting I've got a new start and I keep forgetting. I jump into the usual. Yes, I do. Anyway, let's go again. And this is a reply to a question that was left at one of the bottom.